women are just not included in researches. Like what do you mean I have to work? The type of pain women go through, this isn't working for me. Hey guys, welcome back to another video or another podcast episode if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Music. I'm so happy that you're here. I literally just sat down and decided I wanted to record a YouTube video just because the lighting was good. So I have not prepared anything for this video, but it's been a while that I've been just wanting to talk about birth control and kind of left my story with birth control and why I stopped, what happened when I stopped. Because as y'all know, I am a cycle syncing girly, which means that I sync my life, my workouts, my food, my everything around my monthly cycle. And it has truly changed my life for the better. And a little disclaimer, this lifestyle is definitely not for every woman. I keep making this mistake. Woman singular, women plural. Anyway, it is definitely not for every woman. What am I saying? Woman? It is not for every woman out there, okay? Because I know that a lot of women, and much more than we think, suffer from endometriosis, PCOS. For severe cases of endometriosis, you kind of have to be on birth control, if I'm not mistaken. So obviously the cycle syncing way of living is not gonna be enough to live a normal life for someone that suffers with this disease, which by the way has nearly not enough research on. And it always makes me mad when I see that women are just not included in researches. Like, how is it that there are more research on male baldness and erectile dysfunction than there are on endometriosis? That enrages me. But anyway, I have been living the cycle syncing lifestyle for 3 years now, I think. If y'all want to know exactly what I do, I created an ebook on it. It's free. It's in my bio. I'll put the link down below as well. For some reason on YouTube, the links don't work in the description. So like I'll put a link, but you can't click on it. I have to solve that issue. But you can also look in the bio of my Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if it's not already done. And honestly, it's a really good starter for someone that is kind of trying to dip their toes into the cycle syncing lifestyle and wants to, live in more harmony with their body and with their hormones and with their cycle. I just wish that every woman can really tap into this amazing power that we have. It is so powerful to feel our moods shifts, our energy shifting, and having different superpowers in each phase of your cycle. And that's what feminism is to me, is that one day we can truly acknowledge women's natural hormonal cycle and sort of cater around it. Because right now, the natural hormonal cycle of men, which is 24 hours, the way society is structured right now with like 9 to 5s is optimal for a male's biology cycle. So for me, one day there will be a society that is curated around the female biology cycle, which concretely means that a woman's natural cycle is maybe considered in the workplace. I know there have been talks about menstrual leave, where you can have paid leave for 5 days, so during the time you're on your period. Like, what do you mean I have to work? What do you mean I have to get up every day and sit on a desk? You know what I mean? We go through periods every month. We give birth. Like, that's normal that we 3D print human beings. And people are like, you just need 3 months leave and then you'll be back on the wheel of working 9 to 5. Like, no. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic here. So without further ado, let's dive into my birth control story and how it led me to my cycle syncing journey. I started taking it when I was 17 years old, and the reason why is because I had a lot of acne. So I went on Accutane for a year before going to the US, and this really helped clear out my skin. And if you know anything about this treatment, you know that it is very strong. So I'm glad it worked. So when I came back from the US, I turned 17 and I started getting a little bit more hormonal acne. So it was mostly on the cheeks and my chin. And before that, when I went on Accutane, it was more like the T-zone. So I went to the gynecologist and surprise, surprise, she was like, we're gonna put you on birth control. But as a 17-year-old, I was like, one bird, two stones, right? Wait, no, that's not the same. Two birds, one stone. So long story short, I started taking birth control and it worked super well. My skin cleared up and it was doing the job, quite frankly. However, 2 years in, I started noticing a huge emotional shift. I would get so emotional the week before my period, uncontrollably emotional. It was like disrupting my life. My libido was pretty much gone. I felt like empty and I felt very off. Like I didn't feel like myself. I don't know, I just felt like fake. And if you guys know anything about your birth control pill, which you should if you're taking birth control, I would highly recommend you looking into what it actually does. So basically you supplement your body with hormones. So there are progesterone-based pills and estrogen-based pills, and I think there's like a mix of both. And basically what it does is that it disrupts your cycle, which makes you not ovulate, which then makes you not being able to get pregnant in most cases. And when you have your period, so when you stop your pill for 1 week, it's not an actual bleed, because as you know, you ovulate and then your uterus gets lined to prepare for a little baby to grow inside of your uterus. But if there's no baby at the end of your cycle, your uterine lining sheds and that's basically your period. You bleed for a week. So when you take the pill, there is no ovulation, so you're not shedding a uterine lining, you're just fake bleeding. So basically it's a fake period. And when you get acne, it's usually caused by excess estrogen, which gives you hormonal acne. And if you take, for example, a progesterone-based pill, then it will get rid of your acne problems, which it did for me. But like I said, it was working fine. And then suddenly I was like, what the hell am I doing? What is my life? I don't want to do this anymore. So that's when I decided to go to my gynecologist, unaware of what was about to happen. I was like, listen, I'm not feeling great about taking birth control and I would like to stop. Can you please tell me if there's anything I need to be doing to stop the birth control? I can just stop like that. Are there any risks or anything like that? I just wanted to be safe. I just wanted to do things correctly. And this lady, the first thing she said to me in my eyes was like, that's risky. You're taking a big risk, madam. Big risk it is. Excuse me, more risky than to be on birth control? Huh? Because if y'all are not aware, the risks of birth control is longer than my freaking arm. It's really bad for you. I think it's known by now. Of course, again, if you have endometriosis, the symptoms of birth control are going to be better than the symptoms of endometriosis. You know what I mean? So like, don't get all crazy on me, but if you are someone that is in good health, birth control is just not the best. And I'm talking about the pill, right? There are also like IUDs, which are less strong of a dose of hormones. So it's like less bad, but still disrupts your cycle. There is a copper IUD, which is a non-hormonal form of birth control, and it is basically a copper IUD. The copper will inflame your uterus basically, which creates an inhabitable place for a baby. So essentially, you can't get pregnant. However, your periods are much worse because your uterus is inflamed, and so this causes more painful periods. And also, it's not that good to have that much of copper in your body. You know what I mean? Technically, it isn't a good amount of copper to have in your body. I don't know much more about it, but I was never planning on getting an IUD, which is why I didn't do that much research on it. And also I heard that putting in an IUD is like the worst pain you can ever feel. And like, you don't get an anesthetic for it. What do you mean? The type of pain women go through is always gonna mind boggle me. You know what I mean? Periods every month. We're just fighting biology. We're fighting for our life over here. We wanna get an IUD. We have to be punctured by a freaking tweezer. Have you ever seen videos of IUD getting inserted? Mind-boggling. And don't even get me started on pregnancy. Anyway, we're getting off track. As I was saying, my gynecologist looked me in the eye and was like, that is very risky. You shouldn't be doing that. And I was like, well, I've actually made my decision, so I'm gonna do it regardless. Are there any things I need to take into consideration to stop birth control? Yes or no? Long story short, no, there wasn't really anything. So that was a waste of my money, I have to say. Also, can we talk about the cost of birth control? Getting your pill every single month and paying, mine was like 20 francs per month. And you have to remember to take it every single day. And for me, another reason that made me stop the pill was the psychological aspect of taking a small little pill every single day. That was just heavy on me. Like, what do you mean I have to take this? Who made me take this, actually? So anyways, I stopped taking birth control. So I started getting my period quite quickly, and it was pretty regular, I have to say. So I was pretty lucky for that, because a lot of girls, when they stop birth control, it can take months and years to get back a natural period. Can you believe that? Isn't it not indicative of how bad birth control is for you when it takes years for your body to eliminate the symptoms of birth control? Let that sink in, girl. And this is when I started to get into cycle syncing. So I did a lot of research on the topic because I was really passionate about fitness, and I kind of felt like I was burning out in the gym. I was following a program that was made for men, because most of the things out there are made for men, and this includes the gym and fitness programs. So I was like, this isn't working for me. I started doing my own research. I did my own program, and I started feeling better because I was listening to my body. You know, all these videos of like gym bros that are like, I didn't feel like going to the gym, but I went anyway. And now I'm 10 steps in front of you because I went to the gym and I forced myself, because that's discipline. Like, that advice will do nothing for me. I don't care if I'm 10 steps behind you because I didn't go to the gym, because I felt that my nervous system was just out of whack. I will be sleeping on my pillow in peace while y'all burn out in the gym because of discipline. But that doesn't mean that you never go to the gym, right? I mean, you guys, you have to be reasonable with yourself, right? You have to be honest with yourself. I go to the gym 4 times a week. And the week before my period, honestly, if I go there and I'm like, F this, I'm just gonna do some steps on the treadmill, I will just do that. And I won't be heavy lifting. I won't do my deadlift that I have to do because I have to get 100 kilograms by the end of the year. I have my whole life in front of me to exercise. One thing about me is I will never be chasing a performance goal at the expense of my health. Sue me, guys, okay? So yeah, I started working out in harmony of my cycle. I started following the program that I have on my free ebook. I'm not gonna go all over it because I also have a podcast episode on this, and it is super packed with information, hormones, which hormones in which phase and everything. Go check out that podcast right here. Or is it right here? Wait, I'm new to this YouTube thing, guys, okay? Go check it out. So long story short, to today, I am now fully cycle syncing my life. I have to say that the food aspect of cycle syncing is still a little hard for me because right now, and since ever actually, I hate cooking. So I will cook the simplest thing. And usually it just implies me cooking eggs with toast, an avocado, and cottage cheese. And that's not exactly cycle syncing. So the food I could definitely get better on, but 2 to 3 years now off birth control, and I can say that I no longer have libido problems. I pretty much managed to clear my skin naturally. Of course, I have makeup on right now. And the way I managed to do that is through cycle syncing, through eating the right foods at the right time, doing different workouts for each week of my cycle, listening to my body, taking the time to rest, not overstressing my body. Basically just living like women should be living. Obviously, there are things that I cannot change, like having to work a 9 to 5, and obviously that is not living how women were created to be living. But anyway, that's a hot take. But I do support all of y'all career girlies. You guys are doing amazing and I admire you. And one day I will be CEO of my own company. That is the type of corporate girly I want to be. I want to be CEO, but with my own company. Like, I don't want to be a CEO of another company I never made. You get me? So in conclusion, I think that stopping birth control was one of the best decisions of my life, and I truly feel like myself again. I feel so empowered by my cycle. I know some of y'all are like, oh, but it's so annoying to have your period. I don't want to have a period. It's so, yeah, of course it's annoying to bleed once a month. I also get cramps, and you know, it's uncomfortable to be bleeding at work when you're sitting at a desk all day. It is uncomfortable. However, I see it differently now because I see it as a sign that my body needs to chill right now. It needs its rest, and I just take it as a sign to take care of myself and to say no to any plans I don't want to do. And I don't go to the gym for the first 3 days of my period because I allow myself to rest, and I allow myself to take that time to fully recover in order to come back stronger when my period is over at like day 4 or 5. Depends on how it aligns with my schedule. But I mean, how beautiful it is that every single month we go through these 4 different phases. You get to learn something different about your body, and you get to reset every single month. I mean, how beautiful is that? We need to take advantage. My life is never boring because I'm a woman and I'm living as a different person every single day. Our body is changing every day. Our hormones are making us a different person every day. And shout out to my man because he is now a professional at handling me in every phase of my cycle. So get yourself a man that can handle your hormonal cycle. And in the podcast episode I mentioned earlier, there is also a small part dedicated to men, to the boyfriends out there that are living with women and trying to get through all these hormonal changes. It's hard for us, okay? But I know it's hard for y'all too. So if you listen to that podcast and you're a man, you'll have a guide of exactly how to handle your woman for each phase of her cycle. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this episode, and please leave in the comments your experience with birth control. Let's share our wisdom. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Literally look at my position right now. I'm like stretching. 2 birds, 1 stone.